Welcome back to the 2014 North American Spring Promotion Tournament, live from Los Angeles, California. Now, before we get to the matchup between the Evil Geniuses and Determined Gaming, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Team Alternate Sweep over Counter Logic Gaming, and maybe starting off in Champ Select, where we saw that CLG was seemed out of their element.
Yeah, there were a couple of things they did that I thought was really weird. So go back to game one a little bit, and they banned out Lee Sin. And then they go into the second game, they're like, actually, we want to take away Shyvana, but leave Lee Sin up, which meant they didn't really know it was actually contested with Alternate, because they just leave him back on the table, but they didn't even take away Shyvana the first time around. And then they ban out the Leona, but then leave up Thresh immediately. So they're really just like trading good picks back to Alternate and leaving them to play whatever they want. In fact, the same thing happened again with the mid lane pick, where I thought CLG took red side because they wanted a counter pick. And so they leave their mid lane for last, and Crumbs and I are like, oh, they want to play Orianna here in game one. And so Kurt preempts them and picks Gragas, which is a counter pick to Orianna, and then CLG kind of waits and goes, Nidalee's okay against Double Bruiser, right? And it kind of fails. And then the second time around, they rush the Gragas pick, and then that gets dumpstered by Syndra. So again, their mid lane counter pick doesn't work. I mean, it's not a counter pick this time around, but again, their attempt to get a good mid lane pick fails both times, and it felt like they didn't quite know what they wanted to do in Champ Select.
And part of League of Legends in itself is adapting to the next patch, and that's not to say that CLG hasn't adapted whatsoever, but you know, we talk about the top three in the top lane now, that trinity of Renekton and Shyvana and Mundo. First game, they were glanced over in bans. Mundo was picked, but nobody else looked at that trinity, right, to ban out. Shyvana was also picked. And then a second game that wasn't given any respect, Mundo went through again, and the other bans were trying to take, adapt to the patch. It's been what's played in EU. We saw the games have problems because of those champions, because they're so formidable right now.
And I do have to commend Nien because he held up his lane both times.
Yeah.
It was a 1v1, held up in minions, and I do have to commend Nien for that, but you're right. When teamfights broke out, Kevin was just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely strong performance by Alternate. And if you are CLG right now, what do you take from this? Of course, this was only the first game. They're going to have tons of them on the season. What will they take from this?
I think number one, they've got to take some better shape of their lanes, because the only person who held up in the laning phase was Niet. Doublelift and Aphromoo lost their lane both times. No, first one, okay, there was this level 1 gimmick. It was a nice little trick there. But then game 2, they just got outlaned. Link, both times, 1v1 matchup, got to pick second the first time, got counterpicked in game 2, both times lost his lane. That's the sort of key first point I think CLG needs to shore up.
Yeah. Well, of course, we'll see how their lineup develops as the season goes on. But of course, with their win, Team Alternate has earned Europe 1 point and a tie in the Battle of the Atlantic. Of course, tomorrow coming up will be the 2 more points on the line when XZG take on Gambit Gaming. And then 3 points are up for the games on Sunday when Cloud9 takes on Fnatic.
And now that's today's portion of the Battle of the Atlantic. It is in our matchup history. It's time for a knowledge buff transfer before we kick off today's Best of 5 promotion series. This weekend's matchups were actually determined by the former LCS teams who got to draft the challenger squads they faced.
So Curse finished 6th place and got their first pick of the challenger squad, and they chose they wanted to face Cognitive Gaming. Then Team Coast finished 7th, and they chose the Walking Zed with that second pick. And finally, there's Evil Geniuses, who are playing in Velocity's 8th place spot. They didn't get to choose. Instead, they were forced to fight Determined Gaming, which is arguably the strongest challenger team.
And that leads us to today's second Twitter question. Which North American teams would you like to see win in their promotion tournament series, and why?
Remember, we're at LOL Esports, and be sure to use the hashtag LCS. We'll be reading our favorite responses later in today's show.
Did anyone else get deja vu just now?
No.
No.
Now, to get us set for Game 1 of the North American Spring Promotion Tournament, let's send it over to Pastry Time and Kobe at the caster desk.
me back. It's a huge risk to take to come through the qualifiers when you already have a guaranteed spot in Europe. We're definitely out here on a risk, and we're by no means under the illusion that it's an easy pass.
This kind of motivation that a challenger that a team has that has never been, playing LCS or huge tournaments, that they really want to make it happen. It's just this extreme motivation that's kind of scary, honestly.
Anything can happen. The amateur teams are hungry to get on the big stage, and it really is like, it's on the day, anything can happen, and it's gonna be pretty scary. Having Inox and Pobelter coming over and fulfilling the shoes of Prog and Wicked is a very big thing to do.
It's a really new feeling, really excited to play with them. I'd like to think I'll be able to follow up and do what Wicked was doing for the team, and I'll try to do more.
I feel that replacing Froggen is something really difficult and something that I'll have to keep trying to work towards, but I feel like if I give it my all, then I can do it.
If you've been a team with 5 people for so long, you start thinking about everything the same way over and over, and having like 2 people step in with a completely fresh mind opens you up to a lot more alternatives. Yes, it's a burden that we have to school them in the ways of professional play by a little bit. Then again, the meta game entirely changed, and it's a fresh start for all of us. The aspect of like free trade and trading across regions is actually really exciting. Talent breeds talent, people say. Other people come in and they elevate the talent of North America. I think there's a point to that, so it's definitely good that the people are able to cross the borders, go into Europe, America, Asia even if they want to try, and just level up the game all around. Like players like Dexter coming in, or me, Creepo and Pete coming in, it's going to elevate the scene for sure. What we want is the game to be played at the highest level. Other people are scared that too many foreigners will come in and kick America's ass, but I'm pretty sure that there can be motivated players enough to rise up to that challenge and just take it home. They need more competition, and I think it's coming.
Well, we'll see if they can do it indeed. Standing in EG's path is Determined Gaming. And while they've played under the monikers Team FXO, To Be Determined, and now just Determined Gaming, one thing has remained constant. This team has been one of the premier challenger squads in North America throughout 2013. They qualified for the promotion tournament by winning the MLG Spring Championship and remained hot throughout the Mobify Challenger Series.
And remember, guys, this is the team that nobody wanted to face. EG just got handed this, so they should basically be the best of the Challenger League that's coming to play. And part of that is due to Robert X. Lee. He's probably the best AD carry, I'd say, that's not on an LCS team already. Yeah, some good love there for Robert, but also got to mention his support, Bubba Dub. He is a playmaking support, 100%. He plays that Thresh and that Annie so well, setting up Robert to get some kills. Then they also have a European import of their own, Broken Shard there, coming to jungle for the team.
And even though Broken Shard and Bubba Dub don't have the name recognition of Snoopy and Crepo, they're confident that will change after winning their way into the LCS.
An advantage Determined definitely has over us is their team synergy. They've been together much longer than we have.
I wouldn't say I'm entirely confident. In terms of like team performance right now, I wouldn't say we're solid.
Crepo, Snoopy, and Yellow Pete are very familiar names to me. They might be big names, but I'm not scared. In the matchup, I don't think we have any specific weaknesses. I think that the only close lane is going to be the mid lane, Arthalon versus Pobelter, and Arthalon's going to destroy Pobelter.
I think Pobelter's overrated. I mean, he can prove himself this weekend, but I think people overhype him too much.
I play against Arthalon. I've played against him a lot in solo queue, but he never like tries his hardest in solo queue, so he kind of likes to hide how good he is. It could go either way. I'll just have to try my best to beat him.
I definitely think we can win, yeah. I think both teams can win. It's going to be hard, but I think we can make it, yeah.
Well, strong words there from Determined Gaming. With that, we're going to check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Evil Geniuses. In the top lane, Inox for their jungle, Snoopy. In the mid, Pobelter, their AD carry, Yellow Pete, and his best buddy, Crepo, in support.
And on the red side, it's Determined Gaming. Up top is Westrice, old face around here. Then we've got Broken Shard in the jungle, Arthalon at mid, Robert X. Lee on AD carry, and Bubba Dub supporting him.
And with that, we are going to be getting into Champions Select very soon here, Kobe. And as you saw, Determined really, really look confident here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Wes Rice is a guy who's been in professional league in North America for years and years. And, he's been in for a little bit, then he goes out and takes a break. He looks like he's on a really strong team right now, and he's definitely happy about this one. Glad to have him back.
Yeah, it's good to see him. He's been playing really interesting champions in a lot of the games. He really just sticking to his guns. He doesn't like the tanky top meta that much. He's been playing Akali, his old favorite champion, back in the top lane, even in the mid as well. Determined, doing some crazy stuff, playing really well as a team. And no one can really say anything about the new EG because we've never seen them play before.
Yeah, talking about sticking to your guns. Wes Rice has been playing Akali for over 4 years straight, and he's still not changing. Doesn't care how good Mundo is up top with that Perseverance Mastery. He likes to play those assassins, so that's what he's going to do. But talking about that EG, they also have a wild card in the top lane, Inox. Nobody has seen him play since he was on Napkins in Disguise. With this EG team, not only is he going to have to fit in with the rest of these guys coming over for Europe, but he's also going to have to find his place in the new meta of tanky top laners as well, because he has been favoring like Nidalee and some other assassins as well.
Yeah, and I think in general, we talk about EG and how they're a new team. Wildcard's a good word for both their solo laners. Pobelter, that guy can play almost anything, and when he looks good, he looks amazing.
Yeah, he has very high peaks, but also he has some crazy lows sometimes. So we'll have to see what Pobelter shows up today. Arthalon with some very harsh trash talking there in the video.
Yeah.
I think the mid lane's going to be exciting.
Well, we'll have to see here. I mean, all the lanes should be pretty exciting here. EG, no one's seen them for a little while, moving into North America. A risk, as they said, and it really is. But we'll see if they can get it done. And we're kind of talking about a couple of the players here, Kobe. Broken Shot's a big one as well. Another European import and another really aggressive jungler.
You know, what's funny is all the junglers playing today are European, I guess.
That's true.
Since all of them have come over here. Broken Shot going to be going up against Snoopé. Snoopé is definitely a veteran, and he's been playing in this league as a long time as well. But they decided they had to part ways with their solo laners, and they're going to try their hand out here in North America.
Yeah, we'll see what they can get done. I mean, the bottom lanes as well looked good. We mentioned Bubadub, such a great support, and Robert Exley, what a player. Really, he says he's looked up to Double Lift. He's looking like him in a lot of the NACL Challenger games, but I mean, Crepper and Yellow Pete, you want to talk about experience, Kobe, that's a massive amount of experience.
This bottom lane is the one that I'm really undecided on right now. I'm not quite sure who's going to win out because I'm a huge Robert X. Lee fan, but I also love that guy right there. Crepo, how can you not be a Crepo fan? And, it's really going to be these two supports have very distinct styles. Bubba, I said, is the Thresh and Annie. Loves those two as the playmakers. And then Crepo is known for his Leona, which is actually really strong against Annie if he can get the jump on her because she's so squishy.
Yeah, so it's interesting. As you can see, Crepo in his screen clearly having fun. I mean, EG look relaxed here, and they should. They are the most experienced team. If there's one thing we can say about Determined that maybe will hurt them here is they've never really played on a stage like this. I mean, there was MLG, but they don't have the experience that EG does.
Yeah, Crepo came in with some pretty big talk as well, talking about coming in to kick America's ass. I don't know about that one. Quantic was the last team to come over, and they didn't exactly make it very far.
I mean, that's true. It's almost interesting to see the teams that did make it through here, but Determined, they've looked so strong in the challenger scene. Really, the team, as you mentioned, nobody wants to play against.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's going to be some broken hearts and crushed shards.
Crushed hearts and
is that backwards?
Crushed dreams and broken shards. We'll have to see. But almost in this one, EG will see what they can get done. New blood here for their team as well, and Determined. They've just looked so cohesive as a unit. That's the biggest thing for me, is they've really looked like a team. Despite not being together that long, they've played under a couple different names, but they've always looked like a cohesive team. And in the challenger scene, when teams are changing all the time, when players are moving around, that's a hard thing to do, to have a team that actually has experience in this scene.
Yeah, this is a challenge. They've been playing in all the challenger leagues. So as a 5-man unit, they've been, they've put in the time, and they've worked as a team. Meanwhile, EG, they haven't had the competitive experience, and they have also had some pretty bad reports from the scrims they've been having in North America. Not very good results for them in scrims, but as we know, scrims don't say anything. CLG has great scrims.
Apparently. I mean, they could just be telling us something different, but I doubt it here is Determined. Looking really strong here, EG. I mean, we mentioned experience, but the roster's been together for such a small time at this point that who really knows how they're going to play, but it's going to be exciting. Kobe, we talked about the bottom lane. Seems like that's going to be fairly even. What about the mid lane as we move through? Who's got the better of it between Arthalon and Pobelter?
Well, like we said, Pobelter's a crazy wild card here. He plays extremely aggressively, so he'll either get off to a very good early start or he'll go on tilt and not do so well.
All right, so we are going to be getting into Champ Select here. EG on the blue side here for this game. Determined Gaming over on the right, and instantly sin ban from the Evil Geniuses.
Yeah. Targeting out Broken Shard there. Broken Shard's pretty interesting because he's not always a very early game focused jungler. He does like to weave in ganks with his farming, but he doesn't really commit wholly to one style there. So he's, pretty balanced.
It seems like he often plays aggressive champions, so whether or not he's being aggressive is different, but he's played Jarvan, he's played Lee Sin, he's played Elise, he loves those champions. But Gragas here, another respectful ban. Cassidy and Sivir, also the 2 first bans for Determined.
Right, we still are on 3.14 patch here, so it's before the changes to Sivir. She's just extremely strong at pushing, wave clearing, and with all the focus on mobility now, it's a really, really high priority ban, getting her out of there with that ultimate.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Crumbs earlier before when we were hanging out, and he mentioned that Olaf, Sivir, Karma has been doing the rounds in solo queue in terms of how good mobility can be. Lucy in the last ban here for Evil Geniuses. Again, another really strong AD carry on this patch.
All right, so looking at the top lane bans that everybody's been focusing on, Shyvana is the only one who's been taken out. So that does leave the Olaf as well as Mundo up. Now Olaf can also make use of that Perseverance Mastery, which is the reason why everyone's looking after these very tanky top laners. When he gets low, it's also going to boost his lifesteal that he has with W.
It's your favorite mastery, isn't it,
It
Kirby?
is. It's ridiculous.
So Olaf, the first pick there for EG, really tells you something about what they want to be doing with their team. And Determined, we mentioned that Westrise doesn't really like to play this style, but...
So here's the interesting thing about Determined Gaming. Even though Westrise is very locked into playing assassins, they've adapted by having Arthalon sometimes play the tanks top. Arthalon has played Shyvana up top. He may very well take Mundo up there as well if Westrise does not feel comfortable on that champion.
And it's really nice to see Determined actually swapping things around. And I mean, they know how Westrise plays. They know he's so strong on those assassins. They've really been flexible with their team comps just to make sure that he's accommodated. And when they look good, they look really good here. And I love this pick as well. Jinx up for Determined.
Yeah, they want to fit into the meta of the tanky top laners, even though they don't necessarily have the top laner to play that champion. So they've made the good adaptation. And then Jinx, this is what Robert has been going after every time that she is up. Very, very good endgame champion as well as strong in the late game. So she really brings pretty much the whole package.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Determined don't like to do this. They've been practicing for sure for this tournament. Maybe Westrise has picked up Mundo as well. They could also throw him into the jungle, so we'll have to see. But EG got a couple more seconds to pick their next 2 here. Olaf, nice and flexible as well, but looking like they maybe want to complete a Leona pick here for Crepo.
I mean, I like to see Crepo on Leona. He goes aggressive pretty early. If they can get the early level 2, then you're definitely going to go all in with Leona. If she gets that level advantage, then they definitely can push you out very early. But like I said, Bubba Dub also likes the Thresh. And even though in the CLG game we saw the Thresh play a little bit too early and miss countering the Leona, Bubba Dub's very experienced. I think he could get the timing right and stop Crepo in his tracks.
Yep, the next pick there as well for EG, Ziggs, a champion that got banned in both games actually that we just saw between CLG and Alternate.
Ziggs, amazing at shoving. He's just so good with all the area of effect magic damage. It's a very annoying champion for a lot of people to play against because he can just constantly shove the lane in and harass you while he's doing it here. And like I said, on the other side here, DTG, they waste no time locking in that Thresh. That's going to be the combo that they've been going back to for this bottom lane. So they feel really comfortable.
And I'm interested to see that Vi is actually the selection here though, because Elise is open. Broken Shard loves to play him, but it's actually going to be Vi here instead, which means Westrise or Arthalon will likely be playing Mundo.
Well, since they're looking at Jinx already picked, Sivir is banned, and Lucian is banned, they're not too worried about whatever AD carry Yellow Pete's going to go with. The Ezreal has kind of fallen off. He is mobile, but a lot of his laning pace does depend on those skill shots, and if you miss a couple, then you can easily fall behind.
Yeah, he's still very safe, which is the reason a lot of teams like to play him. I mean, when all the ADs and supports are so aggressive like they are now, having someone as safe as Ezreal is really, really beneficial. But I love this pick from EG, by the way. We said Pobelta might be a wild card, and they can still move this around, but Riven is a fantastic pick if you can play it.
Yeah, Riven is an Inox-style champion. I was talking about he's a lot like Westrise in that he didn't like to play the very tanky top laner. So he could play the Riven top. It could be a Riven jungle as well and take Olaf top. So there's still time for them to switch these these bruisers around if they really want to.
I mean, EG's working with the new roster, as we've mentioned, clearly working some kinks out here, but they've got a lot of interesting versatility in their solo lane picks here. I mean, you look at this team, it's not exactly obvious where everybody's going.
Well, they've got the engage there from Leona. That's great. You can always bring the guaranteed long-range engage from your support. That frees up their solo laners to be more damage-oriented. Ziggs with the AoE, and then Riven with the 1v1 potential.
And this is a big pick here. I mean, we're talking about Assassins, Kobe. Kha'Zix, the last pick for Determined.
That is a Westrise favorite, but also Arthalon plays this champion, so they're still going to keep you guessing. Kha'Zix can also all-in very early. Level 2 all-in from Kha'Zix is very deadly for someone like Ziggs. If Pabelter misses his satchel or ends up bumping the Kha'Zix along with him, then he could go down very early.
And I think maybe Arthalon's Summoner Spell is giving it away there. He is going to swap over to Mundo, and it looks like, as you called, Arthalon played Shyvana, as you said, in that one game, and Determined did a lot of really funky swap-arounds to make that work, but they did make it work.
So this is a nice thing that I think that Determined put a lot of thought into, though, because they know that there's this meta you can't get away from right now. The tanky top laners going in that defense mastery, they've decided that since Westrise can't really adapt to it, they're going to have Arthalon do it. So he's happy to fill in there, and we're going to see that teleport Mundo coming from the top.
So, Kobe, we've seen the draft now. What do you think of these two teams here?
I am so excited for this game because I feel like this is going to be one of the closest matches of the entire series that we're going to have here. I have no idea what's going to happen from this EG team because I haven't been able to look in on any of their scrims, and they haven't had any competitive experience.
All right, so as the teams load into the game, let's take a look at who you think is going to win today's promotion series matchup. According to LOLesports.com, 77%
you get the fan
favorite. Snoopy, Crepo, and Evil Geniuses will be playing in the North American LCS this spring.
There's so much star power on this team. Kind of expected that vote from the online vote. But, you know, Westrise and them have a lot of fans as well, so that's pretty surprising. 77% is a very large number.
And remember, our coverage continues Saturday as Alex Ich and Gambit Gaming take on ManCloud and XTG in the Battle of the Atlantic, followed by Team Coast fighting to win their way back into the LCS when they take on the challengers, the Walking Zed. But we are ready to go here in this one. EG on the left for the blue side, Determined Gaming there, going to be on the red, and level 1 Kobe. Any shenanigans we can expect?
Well, we have no sweeping lenses. Everybody's starting with the warding trinkets, which is it's very common here too. You don't really need to switch over to the sweeping lens until later when you can upgrade them. And it's a lot more effective at clearing out wards. Looks like we may be looking for the old level 1 dance-off in the mid.
Yep, Arthalon just hanging out, going to throw a couple of briefcases out to say hello to Crepo, and we do have a pause to kick things off. So had a couple in the battle match as well. Players just want to make sure that everything's A-okay.
Everybody keeping their calm about them, though. They're all ready.
It is important to stay calm during a pause,
yes,
Kobe.
Especially the level 1s there. There's not a lot of action. There's not much that could be throwing them off here. It looks like everyone is really spreading out, too, for one of the normal openers. So it doesn't look like there will be any heavy invades, mostly just covering all the jungle entrances here.
Yep, so pretty standard stuff. I mean, we could see some deep warding happen. Haven't seen as much of it for whatever reason in the last few patches, it seems like. Teams aren't really moving around as 5 and going to do the level 1 warding, but...
So part of the reason for that is that supports now do not like to start with a whole bunch of wards like they used to. It used to be, oh yeah, support's just going to start with like 4 wards. We'll take them in the level 1 invade, get some nice vision down. But now they actually like to start with either a gold generating item or just the Doran's item for that combat effectiveness. And they don't have a lot of extra wards for the early invades. That's why I think it's fallen off.
All right, so we are back into it now. We'll see what does happen at level 1. Just kind of expect everyone to hang out and make sure they guard all the entrances, but you never know, Kobe. Always up for some excitement. I think most importantly, how this is laned is going to be really interesting by Determined.
It looks like it is going to be standard lanes coming up here. I mean, Arthalon, he's sitting around middle, but if you have teleport there on Mundo, he'd probably make his way over and find himself top. They are making the switch very early here, though. You know what's really interesting is that Crepo is the support that's been using these Doran starts a lot to get the early advantage and get those early level 2 fights started down bottom. But it looks like here, Bubba knows what his plan was, and he's also gone with a Doran shield.
Yeah, I mean, Crepo's talked a lot about Doran's almost to a joke at this point, and so Bubba may be showing some respect, being like, I'm going to build it as well. But we are going to have Determined move around now. It has 5 actually up towards the top bit of Tribosh. So this could be a big, big invade here. There are scouts available though, Kobe.
Inox is in a pretty good spot there, and he does put down the ward, sees the entire invade happening.
Yeah, that's good. Riven going to back off now. This blue buff potentially under threat. In fact, it will be invaded here as it's just about to spawn. Wards being put down there by Determined as well, and very little they can do for an answer here. EG probably just going to try and trade away for the other blue.
EG doing a really good job. They did not hesitate to walk over to that other blue. Crepo and Yellow Pete started up before Snoopy's even in range for it. So they're just going to prime that one up, serve it to him on a platter.
And Crepo being a nice support player here, tanking it up with the absence of Snoopy, and looks like he is going to be able to get that blue buff. In fact, might not have to use his smite. Athlon actually looking for the steal, but Snoopy is going to get it.
All right, so Snoopy will be very happy about that one. Olaf suffers tremendously without the first blue buff because it improves his clear time so much with the axe spam. Without that, you go very quickly, and you also cannot throw at the axes quite as much.
Yep, and actually going to continue doing a little bit of counter juggling here. Very creative. Got Crepo in tow there, kind of an old, very old M5 throwback there, doing a bit of double juggling, and Snoopy going to collect an extra camp there.
And here's the all-in from Westrice.
Oh, Poberto, though, able to get out with a satchel charge, but exactly what you talked about, Kobe.
Right, that was that would have been the plan there for Arthlon, but Westrice, being the Kazakhstan mid now, does go for it. He's able to get a nice chunk of harass down there onto Pobelter, but no summoner burned.
Nope, just the satchel charge, so able to get himself out of the way. Westrice a little low in mid, actually. Gonna have to watch himself, but probably just getting poked down by Ziggs. I think that's one of the interesting tensions of that matchup, Kobe, is that there's some great poke for Ziggs, but if Westrice gets can all in, he can kill him very quickly.
Right, it's the kill potential, and here comes the game!
Oh, that's bad news. Pobelter getting aggressive, but there comes Broken Shard looking for first blood, and is gonna find it onto Ziggs.
So, Broken Shard here, knowing that he's going up against Pobelter, who has a tendency to, be influenced very easily by early game pressure, gets the kill on Pobelter. If they can set him off from this, get him on tilt, that could set the tempo for the entire game. But here comes Snoopy looking for tower pressure.
So 3-man push down the bottom, gonna be the same up the top for Determined as well. And that tower is going to go down very quickly. Jinx such a strong pusher, and Determined going to pick a whole lot up here very early on.
This game getting started off so quickly here. Broken Shard, he got the first blood and then went for the exact same move that Snoopy's doing. So even though he spent his time mid to get the kill, they also get the turret first.
And that's just some really smart presence of mind from Broken Shard. You mentioned he likes to be aggressive when he can, but the most important thing about jungling is making smart decisions, and Broken Shard made two very, very strong ones.
And even though, it's kind of mirrored situations, I like that they got it a couple seconds earlier. It kind of turns this into a game of chicken, where the 3-man team that continues pushing and got the turret first is going to have the advantage, and it forces the other team to recall back, and they lose out on a little bit of extra tower pressure there.
So towers are going to get traded away, but Determined Gaming with the first blood going to get themselves about 400 extra gold. Now Broken Shard looking for Pobelter. He's going to throw down the ward though, and they're going to back off.
So instead of the extra tower pressure that EG gained from taking that early, they actually gain that pressure mid and allow Westrice to CS without the Ziggs poke coming down to him. But Snoopy is able to make the call here, and they go for the close objective.
This is a beautiful call from EG. A little risky and a very early dragon here at 5 minutes, but Determined already sitting up top. Pobelter rotated up there as well to push out the mending wave, and EG going to get 5-minute and 15-second dragon.
And that is the least that a dragon can be worth. The average level, the lowest is level 6 there. So like Jat was saying, the early dragons, yes, they're great, but not worth quite as much as before.
I think given that Determined were pushing down this tier 2 turret potentially on top, makes a lot of sense to clear out the objective when you can. And look at that, Kobe, dead even now in gold as a result. Some really smart decisions by both teams here early on.
Right, so it's dead even. The only little nuance here is that this secondary turret for EG has a huge chunk out of it. It's down to like a third left. Broken Shard's taking a good harass in the mid though.
Yeah, Pobelter here with a satchel charge. Very nice. He placed the mines in front of him as well. Maybe going to pick up the kill. Does get it there with the bouncing bomb.
Oh, wow. Broken Shard with a little bit of misplay there. That happens sometimes for junglers when you go over to the mid lane, not quite used to laning there. He wants to get a couple lane CS, and Pobelter definitely makes him pay for it right there. So, people who are worried about Pobelter going on tilt, he's back to 1-1 now, and we'll have to see how he plays mid-game out.
Yeah, looking good still in Pobelter. He's looking aggressive early on, clearly able to get a nice little kill in the mid as Broken Shard rotates through. I mean, the minion tax, Kobe, you're a jungler, you know it's very, very tempting, but did cost Broken Shard his life there.
Yeah, very tempting, but it's very dangerous as well sometimes. It looks like we're seeing rotation here from Snoopy up to pressure this top lane, and they're going for the dive onto Arthalon.
Inox looking for it. Arthalon actually already flashed out of the way. The Undertow will hit. Briefcase in the back for Olaf as well, but EG just going to try and continue their tower pressure, it seems.
Because of that pressure down bottom too, Arthalon definitely got zoned out much harder than Inox. Level 4 now, but he's still behind Inox as far as that 1 versus 1 matchup is concerned.
And then again, a pause just to ease things out here after a lot of early game action, Kobe. I mean, things look pretty even. What can you tell me about some of the early game decisions those junglers were making there?
All right, so it was very exciting, and there were a lot of trades going on, but really, what's come of it is a 400 gold difference. That's almost nothing. And all the games that we've seen have been going to 50-minute marks. So although this early game was very exciting and entertaining, thank you, Crepo and crew, it hasn't had the biggest impact. So it's definitely still everyone's game right now.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. I mean, I do like a lot of the rotation here that's coming out from EG. We mentioned experience before. It's that experience that's going to really carry them through a lot of difficult decisions. And you have to think on both these teams, the junglers are really calling a lot of the shots as well.
Yeah, the junglers have had a pretty big impact here, and it's mostly because when you get those 2 versus 1 situations, they spend a lot of the decisions do come down to wherever your jungler goes. If they want to take those turrets early, which they have, you know, it could go easily to the late game here. And if we're looking at late game comps, man, this determined team right now, not only do they have the upper hand in 80 carries, I think Jinx better than Ezreal in the extreme late game here. They also have a Kha'Zix for resetting kills, and they have the Mundo, the super tank, on their team.
And that's one of the nice things about the way Determined like to play. When there's so many tanky champions in the game that people like to kind of have in their team comps, you don't get a lot of assassins all that often. The mid laners are often just kind of for burst. You can think of Gragas maybe as some sort of assassin, but when you have an actual assassin that has reset potential like Kha'Zix, all of a sudden your damage potential goes through the roof. And a lot of teams aren't necessarily used to playing against that type of composition.
Yeah, I mean, Westrise, they have had practice against him, and they know his style. But even so, after knowing the style of Westrise, it's still very dangerous to go up against Kha'Zix. He did get that early assist, didn't quite get the first blood, but he's had a pretty easy time also CSing in that lane because of the pressure created elsewhere. You know, Pobelter's been doing a lot of roaming. So when Pobelter leaves lane, that means more money for Westrise.
And of course, Westrise could also potentially start roaming in there as well. Level 6 now to get that ultimate out, so can sneak in potentially with some invisible ganks and just jump on people's faces. You'd mentioned assassins and Snowball though, Kobe. There is kind of an assassin and certainly a Snowball champion on the EG side as well in Riven.
So Riven is really good at being a lane bully. Because once she does get a little bit of AD, all of her spells scale so well with AD, and all these players are so well trained at animation canceling, they can make the most out of that. But really, if Mundo can get to that point, you know, where he gets a Spirit Visage and a Sunfire Cape, then it'll be very hard for her to actually make anything come of that early potential. And, you know, Mundo is just very hard to push him out of lane.
He is. And really, we've seen what late game Mundo can be like. We saw Alternate before in the Battle of the Atlantic. Mundo all the time, all day, every day for Kevin. It's really, really hard when he gets to late game.
We'll have to see, though, because, you know, it's only 7 minutes, and so we've got a little bit more to play out. And Arthalon is currently behind Inox, so we'll have to see what Determined can do to try and keep Arthalon from falling further behind and just hopefully be able to hold on to his turret, try and CS around there.
So given how the early game's gone so far, we've had a Dragon for EG, we've had some rotations around the turrets to take those out as well. Given what we think about Determined's late game here, given they're champions, where do you think EG are really going to try and close out this game?
I mean, EG have the Ziggs. I think that's one of the kind of defining characteristics of their comp right now. So whenever you do have Ziggs, you have the potential for shoving extremely hard. You have great wave clear, so you can also defend turrets. And then, like we said about Inox on that Riven, it's great in the 1 versus 1 potential. And he's also taken teleport. So they can have split push. I feel like EG are going to go more split push style. And then Determined Gaming are going to look for that end game, the team fights with the resets.
So with Ezreal as well, we kind of mentioned, Jinx just such a strong fighter, so good late game. Do you think maybe we'll see a bit of a change in Yellow Pete's build? I mean, it's been a while since Blue Ezreal, but if there was ever a team where you might want it, Mundo is not a bad champion to kite.
Yeah, I mean, Mundo does like to say that he goes where he pleases, but a blue Ezreal would slow him down a little bit. I don't know. I don't think that Yellow Pete is going to actually rush that build. But he might get something later in the game to give him a little bit more ability if he is having problems.
Yeah, I mean, he could. It's always an option, and I think it's a nice thing to think about as well. I mean, Ziggs, another champion that's not only good at shoving lanes, but controlling space with the explosive minefield as well. So we'll have to see what happens here. Should be back in this game fairly shortly by the looks of things. And Kobe already very, very exciting, but still very close between these two.
Definitely very close. All right, so let's jump back into the Rift here. We will take a look at that top lane. And like we said, Inox, since he's got the advantage here over Arthlon, he's gonna be able to shove it into lane, but it's very hard to dive a Mundo, as we've seen already.
Yep, and I like this little item choice as well coming out from Pobelter Ziggs. He may not necessarily finish the Zhonya's that quickly, but I like the Seeger's Arm Guard here, just up against Kha'Zix, because really, Kirby, you have to just defend against all that damage.
Yeah, not only does that Arm Guard help him in the lane phase, but you really need a Zhonya's late game so that you can stop the reset train from going on. Make sure that Westrise will all be delayed at least another 3 seconds when he goes for that kill.
Yep, so just down the bottom here, you can see a lot of farm being exchanged back and forth, and now Robert X Lee and Bubba going to be working on this tower down towards the bottom lane here. They've already managed to push down one. Going to try and see if they can do it here again, and for whatever reason, all those rotations, a lot of movement from EG. Big CS discrepancy is a big all-in from Inox, but doesn't quite fire the ultimate. There we go. They couldn't quite get him.
And he takes 2 tower hits on the way out, almost evening up that trade. So even though Arthlon is getting bullied around, like we said, he's kind of just like a punching bag, a very, very sturdy punching bag that's taking these hits and then regenning up under turret. The only question is, how well can he CS under that turret while being pressured?
Well, Riven actually surprisingly good against Mundo. Again, talking to Crumbs before the games, and he really likes that as a champion against Mundo. But Inox is mirroring the summoner spells here, and that's not going to quite get a Mundo killed.
If you don't have Ignite against Mundo, it's really, really difficult to finish him off. And we've seen several times people just get baited because even though you know he's got crazy regen when he gets low, sometimes it's just too juicy and you don't want to let it go.
I mean, you want the kill. Everybody loves to chase kills, but chasing a Mundo, much like chasing a Singed, not always a good idea. Is down the bottom, this turret is getting hammered
now,
by Determined.
An interesting side effect of all the 2v1 action and the shoving that DTG did on that top lane is that this matchup here, that was Leona Thresh, that's kind of based on skill and can he interrupt the Leona, just got swung completely in Thresh's favor. This is all a Determined Gaming lane right now because not only is Leona lower level, but Krepo's also taking a large amount of harass, so it's very difficult for him to go for that all-in.
So Determined just continuing to shove down towards the bottom lane. Looks like junglers are sniffing around now out towards the bottom lane, but we'll see what happens. I think the next dragon is due up quite soon, about a minute and a half here on that one, but you can see the Jinx Ezreal matchup really just looking good for Robert X Lee.
And now we also have that amazing moment that is the level 6 jungle Vi. So he has the potential to go for those very high impact ganks on the mid lane. The only thing is here with Pobelter, he's playing very safe now because he saw the level 6 ding there from Vi. So he's going to be playing far back and he will save his satchel for when they come for that gank. Because if he does not have it up, then a Assassin plus Vi level 6 combo is a pretty easy kill.
We've seen a lot of fast pushes actually from Determined in their games leading up to this event, and they're really not slowing down here on the bottom turret. I think EG, knowing that they're trying to get it done, Krepo going to go and flash down there as well. Great ult on top of it, the barrier will get popped in there, lands it out, maybe another box popped in there as well, and Barbara maybe going to take him. Here's Broken Chance, looking on the edge with the Ziggs coming in as well, and Snoopy picks up the kill. Now Krepo in a whole lot of trouble on Leona, and there's just people everywhere. Inox teleported down, Mundo with the double kill as Riven's going in. Now Broken Chance has to get out there as quick as he can, but Pobelter roaming down there, Ignite plus short piece for the kill, and Arthlon, last but not least, going to get stunned up there by Kibo, so Westrise absolutely doesn't want anything to do with that.
And a huge win for EG right there. Krepo with a great job. He did not hesitate. Yes, okay, Bubba got the interrupt there, but Krepo didn't hesitate to follow up right there. He chained it, got the ultimate stun as well onto Robert, and then even though both teleports come in, they're able to get the upper hand because they got the first kill. All right, let's take a look again. There's the flash for Krepo because he got knocked back and knocked up, and that flash and stun combo from Krepo enabled them to get Robert so low that in comes Pobelter with the ultimate from mid lane, and Snoopy covers him off right there. Arthlon first TP in, but here comes Inox as well. The Riven, with their ultimate up, able to just chop everyone down, and Broken Shard's not going to be able to get away. Neither is Arthalon, and Westrice is left watching from the bushes.
And when all is said and done, EG picked themselves up a 2,000 gold lead early on in this one, and Determined were looking for a dragon. They're very sneaky, but EG going to chuck down the pink wall, going to look to claim their second dragon in a row, potentially? No. Instead, just going to back up, clear out the woods they know are there, and we're going to go again, Kobe.
Well, Arthalon is up top again, but both people used their teleports last time, so this is an easy dragon for EG right here. They don't have to hesitate at all, and it should not be contested from Determined.
Yeah, and that top tower already gone, remember, as well. Determined finished that one up already, so Arthalon just kind of pushing as hard as he can to maybe get to the tier 2, get a little bit of damage, but that was a very nice dragon as well.
Yeah, I don't really like that rotation, sending your teleport top laner up there when you know the dragon is up. It was kind of an easy call there for EG to go grab that objective, since there was nothing really left for Arthalon to take up top and answer with.
And Inox now just going to farm away all these minions that pushed in, so not only did the pushing from Arthalon hurt his team in that dragon fight, but a whole bunch of easy CS for Inox to pick up in there as well. Blue buff going to get transferred over to Poberto as well. And action down the bottom, but Bubba misses the hook.
They are getting some nice damage onto this turret here, though, down bottom. And they know that there's no teleport, so the Riven's not going to be coming in behind them. Looks like they are not going to give up on that pressure down there either.
Ooh, Broken Shard. Bit of a miss vault breaker there. Didn't quite go through the torch.
Okay, so there's a big woo from the crowd. You know, it did look bad, but oh, here we go.
That's a beautiful stun. Great chain CC. Robert actually obliterated there. The Chomper's down as well, but cannot save him.
Oh, Robert found without his support there. Bubba Dub not able to rescue him. Crepo, again, not hesitating. He's been on point with this Leona play.
I mean, he often is. That's one of the reasons he loves to play Leona so much. He is a sniper with the Solar Flare there. And EG, that last little fight's really giving them some confidence here. And we talked about it, Kobe. If EG are going to win, it's probably going to be a big min game. But Westrice going to try and turn it around. Now Snooper in here as well. And it is indeed leap away there for Westrice. He gets bombed out as well. Maybe going to go down. Is Snooper going to look for it? He flashes out of the way. Pobelts are not quite enough. Unfortunately, the ultimate goes. Not enough though. Now Broken Shot on the Snooper. The dunk there with the Assault and Battery. He's ignited and will go down. And Pobelter, despite the blue buff, very low amount of Broken Shot. He's going to try to do it. He's going in there. Excessive Force coming in. Picks up the double kill. And Arthalon going to shake off the Riven harass in the top lane. But beautiful play in the mid.
This is often the story with Westrice. He is a very aggressive player. So Pobelter, knowing that he's going up against Westrice, tries to bait him into a fight. He does a good job. Gets Kha'Zix extremely low because he's got the Olaf right behind him, but in comes Broken Shard, and they're able to turn it around. They actually get the double off of that. Beautiful, beautiful just play right there, able to work themselves out of a bad situation.
And a little unfortunate for Pobelter. He just now finished his Zhonya's, and despite having blue up, ran completely out of mana to try and pick up that kill. So tower is going to go here for EG. That's a nice rotation. Down the bottom though, Robert Exley answers.
All right, so I said they weren't going to give up on that pressure down bottom, even though he got caught out and killed again. He returns and he finishes his job. Good job, Robert.
Inox going to do the same thing here as well. 3-2 now in turrets for Evil Geniuses that pick it up. And the only outer turret left alive is the mid turret here for Evil Geniuses. That's a pretty important one.
All right, that importance of that is signified by everyone grouping up around mid as soon as Determined show any threat of pushing it down. The Leona and the Olaf there just waiting in the wings, and after everybody backs off, they'll go to buy.
Yeah, so some curious item choices moving through here. We can see Tiamat's actually on both of the top laners there, so Kha'Zix and Riven going to be going for that item. So plenty of split push, plenty of all-in, plenty of burst. Lots of good looking stuff in there as well. Junglers well on the way with their builds. You can see Spirit of the Ancient Golem plus a Giant Spell apiece for each of them. Mundo versus Ziggs, of course, not quite the matchup we expected, but Sunfire for him with the Zhonya's in there. And double Bloodthirster now finished for both ADs as well. So everybody seems happy.
Everybody is happy. I mean, the Tiamat on Riven there is definitely an extremely popular build because Riven gets so much bonus AD from her ulti. An auto attack reset has even more value than usual. And she can just destroy waves as well as champions.
So Determined Gaming looking to group up now again We've mentioned how important the mid turret is. They really want to try and get it down. And I think another interesting thing, Kobe, the teleports back up now as well for those top laners. And we saw what Inox did with his last teleport on Riven.
Now, it's interesting because when Riven teleports in, it's usually a high impact very early on. Like, there'll instantly be a lot of damage there. You know that Riven's been there. But it takes a little while for Mundo to actually take effect in that fight. So he's going to want to be the one teleporting in first, and he's going to want the initiative there to start wreaking havoc a little bit earlier.
I mean, Crepo continuing a good run for this game as well. Actually finished up his Aegis already, so that's a nice little one for the team. Sweeping Lens going to go down there, and Dragon up in just over a minute. EG looking for something here.
So they're trying to get a little bit of control here on the blue side jungle, and they're going to make Broken Shard pay for it.
Beautiful Zenith Blade forces the flash out there. Fight is going to be okay as Robert X. Lee will move the choke through with the Flame Chompers there. And now Blue Buff, though, really nicely timed.
Crepo, again, doing a great job. Has not missed yet. Uses his ultimate to get a flash out. That's always an amazing trade because Leona's ultimate, extremely low cooldown. Looks like Robert might even be chasing everybody off here by himself.
Mundo actually coming in for this one. Athlon around the side. Westrise as well. Everybody from Determined trying to move in here as Snoop is going to take some damage. Westrise getting low. The Zony's there from Pobel, so looks really good though as Robert flashing forward, trying to get some more damage. You can see Broken Shard low in there as well. And EG really positioning well though, forcing the flash out there for Bubba. Robert X. Lee got up in the Zenith Blade. Athlon looking bad in here as well. The ultimate there moving through. Westrise almost dead, but Yellow Pete snipes him off with a Mystic Shot.
Just destroyed here, and they're going to let Bubba Dub walk away with his life. But another huge team fight win for EG. That is a really good timing, too, because you just talked about that Dragon, only 10 more seconds. Now, Determined thought they had the advantage here. They cut him off. Arthlon again with the early TP in. Westrise gets chunked out so low at the beginning of this fight, though, that even though he has upgraded for the resets, he doesn't get to do any damage. You can see him just walking back and forth here down in the bottom. So that was a large chunk of damage that DTG were not able to take advantage of. And Arthlon, even on that Mundo, is not that tanky yet. Not able to survive.
And I have to say, Kobe, hats right off to Crepo there. Once again, plays beautifully on Leona. He started so many skirmishes. He started so many fights. CC beautifully there with that one. And of course, the ultimate once again hit against Mark.
Yeah, people were doubting this EG team, you know, but it looks like they've really been working together very well. Inox has been teleporting down at the right times as well, and he was able to turn that one around.
Broken Shard once again. No flash this time. Does Vault Breaker himself out of the way there, and EG did pick up their second or third straight Dragon at this point, Kobe. I think it's the second, though.
All right, it looks like they are going to recall here. They have done a pretty good job of controlling the Dragons, but they've also taken all of the outer turrets, which is really huge for them. Like we said at the beginning, they want to be shoving constantly. They do have that Ziggs.
Yeah, I mean, you said it there as well. Ziggs looking good. Pobelta going to pick himself up the blue buff as a result, so he'll be happy with that one. Red buff going over to Vi once again, so Broken Shard now hitting level 11. Going to try and make some high impact ganks come through as well. Snoope looking good as well. Randy one's on the way. And just in general, EG slowly but surely with some great team play, really getting the goal going here.
And if Snoopy gets tanky enough, you know, he can just run straight at Robert and force him out of the fight there. Oh, another engage here from Crepo. He does get done up this time, though.
Yeah, you got snared, unfortunately, so I believe you cannot move out of the snare if you Zenith Blade, because, you know, you need to go from one spot to another. You just won't go to the other spot.
Yeah, Robert right there with Flame Choppers, getting his supports back.
And tower does go down there as a result for EG, so 4-2 now in that Magic Dance, and you can see the gold lead really starting to creep up now. EG 34,000 more or less to the 28,000 or so there for Determined.
Now, an interesting thing here for the mid and late game is that since both these supports did not start out with their gold generating items, there won't be that extra mobility there, at least for the EG team, because Crepo still has not gotten his coin. So he's not going to be having an upgraded coin for that speed of effect until much later if he does ever even decide to go for it. And all of the speed up for Snoope for that Olaf is going to have to come from himself.
That's a little surprising to me. I mean, Olaf is just so great when he can speed him through. I think that's part of the reason why Snoope actually has Ghost here instead of the Flash we've been seeing a little bit more of on Olaf's, more as a style choice, excuse me. But we kind of thought about Yellow Pete's build. He absolutely wants nothing to do with the blue build. He's going full damage here, BT, and it looks like Trinity Force is going to follow up. He's just hanging out here with Arthalon. Mundo, a pretty tanky guy, but maybe he can get some work done here. And Pete must feel good here.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to finish that Trinity Force and get the speed for himself as well. So it looks like everybody going to fend for themselves as far as the boosts are concerned. And I think that that's just really Krepo being so confident in his ability to hard engage that they won't need the extra speed up for any chasing.
Yeah, they kind of know that the late game doesn't look that great, so even if Ezreal's able to kite consistently, that's maybe not going to get it done here as well. Can have a little bit of a party. His Snoopy just missing that death sentence there. So the wards are going to get cleared out now as well. Determined really looking put back into their base here at this point. You can see Inox down the bottom. Teleport not quite up, but he's going to go in onto Westrise. Damage moving through. Westrise, oh, beautiful knockup moving through. He's trying to juke him out. Pops the active there. Should have the exhaust. It does get him. He just misses the key burst, but is able to do enough damage.
Yeah, that was just an outplay by Inox there. You can see Westrise was trying to pull some fancy footwork there, and he even flashed at the end, expecting it to come out from Inox, but so many back and forth movements expecting the wind slash, he actually just wasted a lot of time and wasn't able to get the cooldown on his Q reset for another kill.
And Inox, with that very nice bit of finesse, is able to take out a tier 2 turret all by himself out in the bottom lane as well. So Evil Geniuses, we kind of mentioned it, we're not sure what to expect. Apparently big things here as they're looking fantastic in this opening game.
Yeah, we said that in the beginning that Inox and Westrise are very similar top lane players. You know, neither has really conformed to the tanky top lane meta, and both of them just prefer those assassins. Right there, we just saw, you know, Inox kind of one-upping Westrise and calling him out.
Yeah, and that item build really progressing along now for Inox. Last Whisper has been finished up for Riven, so he's going to be doing all the damage here at this point as EG are kind of mooking their gold lead a little at this point. Pobelter, interestingly enough, is actually going for a Chalice of Harmony now, so didn't want it early, wanted the Zonias as soon as he could get it, and he's picked that up now, as well as we see rotation.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of play into that late game vision that I talked about for EG. They've got the shoving, so it's going to be the Chalice keeping Pobelter's mana up even when he's not able to grab a blue buff, and they have that Inox split push down bottom. His teleport is back up, and we've just seen that he can handle Westrise, so Determined would have to send somebody else down there if they want to.
And as far as split pushes goes, Riven's a pretty good one here. I mean, AD casters in general really good at killing turrets, and Inox with the Ravenous Hydra as well, able to push very quickly. So Mudo's going to rotate over, but look at the chunkage, Kobe.
All right, yeah, so Arthalon is going to try his hand at this, but really, like we said before, he's just kind of soaking up minions under the turret. He can't force Inox out of that lane. He's just going to continue taking a little bit of a beating here, and Inox is going to do a great job of pulling resources of Determined Gaming down to that bottom side so the rest of his team can make plays up top.
Krepo going to go in once again. The ultimate moves in there for Ziggs. Now Broken Shard in trouble as Barbadov goes down there to Leona. Pobelter looking for the satchel on Robert X Lee, but doesn't quite find it. Have to be a little careful. Super Mega Death Rocket as Broken Shard. Beautiful find in from Pobelter though. And now Broken Shard can be in trouble. Westrise looking for the reset. Almost finds two as he gets one kill in there as well. Now Snoopy trying to get around. Pete's out of mana though, but Inox chasing Mundo around the base. It seems like look to teleport coming in now for Westrise as well. And Snoopy going to look for the cleanup here. That's a kill there. And now Robert X Lee is very dead.
Yeah, he's cornered.
There's nowhere Jinx wants to be, and Olaf gets yet another kill.
All right, so EG was able to make their play up top, then overextend a little bit between two turrets. Everything turns out just fine, though, because Inox is able to teleport in, clean everything up.
And Inox once again looking really strong here. We said, kind of like Pobelter, not sure what to expect, and his Rivens look fantastic here in this game. Every single time he has used his teleport, the impact has been really felt here by Determined.
He's really a beast for this EG team, but everyone really on their side is ahead right now. Especially, we're going to have to take a look at Snoopy because right alongside Inox, he can dive just as well. There's the beautiful engage from Krepo. Everybody wants to see it. Now, here is the overextension from EG. They get a little bit too close, and Pobelter will Zanya's the ulti from Broken Shard, which is a great move, but Westrise can jump right in to finish him off. You only get one Zanya's. Can't use it again on that. And the non-reset right there from Krepo delays Westrise damage just a little bit. And so he overextends onto Pete. And since Pete has Flash, he gets away, out of danger, and there's no escaping the axes of Snoopy.
And then Robert, absolutely nowhere to run after that. Snoopy is going to get himself yet another kill. And just looking so strong here. Evil Geniuses, really strong lead. In fact, they're 10,000 gold ahead already, Kobe.
Yeah, they're feeling extremely good about the way that this game is going, but we've seen so many teams on this 3.14 patch kind of get complacent once they have a giant lead, and it's so easy for teams to come back in this patch that they cannot afford to do that. one of the key things to look out for with those comebacks is going for the dragons. The mid and late game dragons are a huge comeback mechanic. Not only does it give a lot more gold, like Jack kept on saying, but it also gives so much bonus experience to help catch up anyone on your team who's very far behind.
So the position looks good for EG.
It does.
You can certainly say that at this
Oh,
point.
it looks real good.
So what happened here in this game to kind of get to this point? EG, we weren't too sure about the lanes. Pobelta gave up first blood, but from there, everything's looked pretty smooth.
So it was Pobelta giving up first blood, but he didn't go on tilt. A lot of people were giving him criticism, for either being really great or having a very terrible game. He's been able to fight his way back, and he held his own in that mid lane, and then he was also able to help with the roaming kills. When Inox took his lead from top and teleported bottom to force the fights on Robert X. Lee and get that bottom lane behind, Pobelta was there from the mid lane with the long-range ultis. He was able to clean people up, and they won 2 fights around that dragon, getting their lead above Determined Gaming, and then also getting the objectives right after. So it's the kills plus objectives 2 times in a row that really boosted EG to
And now at this point, Riven looks so scary for Determined Gaming. Inox is split pushing everywhere. He's moving through. He's 1v1ing people. He's almost 1v2ing people now at this point as well. If you're EG, how do you go about closing out this game now that you're so far ahead?
So EG, they'll probably want to continue with that split push style that we're talking about because Inox is such a beast and he got a lot of damage down onto that bottom turret already. Like we said, he draws resources from the rest of Determined Gaming down to that bottom side and opens them up on the other side of the map to make plays. Crepo is so on point with all his ultimates, you're going to have to watch out for that.
Yeah, we are going to get back here. Not too long a pause as Evil Geniuses look poised to take the opening game here in this series. But as Kobe mentioned, comeback's definitely a bigger thing now on this newer patch here in the preseason, and it is certainly not over till it's over.
That's why I love how EG are protecting this dragon. It's kind of an old mentality that later in the game, teams stop caring about it. But it still is that big comeback mechanic. So EG, they're not going to let anything go. They definitely want to secure that objective and close all of the doors in Determined's face.
Yeah, EG really just looking to close, as you said, as many doors as they can and just close out this game in style here. I mean, EG, 2 young, 2 new players picked up for them. But if anyone can guide some new players into closing out a game, and we often almost criticize the amateur and the challenger scenes for maybe not closing games out that well, especially on this patch. If you have veterans like Yellow Pete, like Crepo, like Snooper in your team, you're going to know how to close.
It's very interesting that they're choosing to go for the Baron area as their means of kind of closing this one out, because along with all the vision changes, it's become so much more difficult to control that area since the sweepers are a very limited resource, and it's a team-shared resource. Vision right now, you really have to depend on the rest of your team. Oh, Broken Shark gets caught!
Yeah, that's not good news. Pobelta picks up a kill. Babadov forced a flash as well, as Robert X. Lee is going to move the Chompers in. But that one kill is maybe all EG want to close out this Baron.
All right, so they've got Westrise down bottom pushing, so he'll eventually get that turret, but they're going to grab that Baron right now. And 1 outer turret or secondary turret for Baron is an amazing trade if they can make it happen. Robert will probably go for the steal, though, with the ultimate.
Yellow Pete taking a lot of damage. Beautiful barrier to protect himself, but Jinx still going to get the kill as Yasuo goes down. There's so much damage coming through. The Baron getting low. They've got to be careful. They are going to secure it, but Determined looking so strong here. Now Crepo going to go after Robert X. Lee. EG needs to back out if they can, but Inox doing the damage. Takes out Arthur there. Westrise gets out Leona, and now the reset's coming through as well. Good death sentence they coming in, and Robert X. Lee with the shutdown.
They were able to take the Baron before they started losing members, though. So they got the objective first. It was such a really good hook, though, there. 2 really good hooks from Babadov, catching both high priority targets. First Yellow Pete, then Inox later.
Thankfully, though, Determined only take the 1 turret there down the bottom. EG, though, could lose this one in mid as well. Babadov kind of zoning out Pobelta if they can. Zig's great wave clear, but Robert X. Lee's going to take it out and ride the lantern away.
All right, so they're able to answer back a little bit. Now they're going to want to lick their wounds, though, because 2 of the members of EG are still wearing that Baron buff. Here goes the harass, and then there's the first hook I was talking about onto Yellow Pete. This just gave so much hope to DTG, and this is why Babadov rotates down around the entrance of the Baron. I gotta think that if the rest of the team had rotated as quickly as him, it might be a different story. But Westrise comes in, defends Robert, and then they're able to clean up Inox. So even though Arthalon did end up going down, he showed that he can last as long as 2 members of EG in the enemy lines.
But EG still maintain a big lead here in this game. I mean, it's not going to quite be the big Baron they can push on maybe that they would have wanted, but they're going to keep trying to close this game out. And Inox, his teleport's almost back up. He knows what his job is.
It is getting a little scary for them, though, because Mundo's creeping up on that point where he gets extremely beefy, and it just takes so long. Yes, you can kill him, but it takes so long, and it takes so many of your spells and cooldowns to do it, that sometimes you just want to bypass him and go for the resets here on DTG instead. Yeah,
and for all the kills and gold that EG have, the AD carries are actually surprisingly close in gold. You can see there's under 1,000 actually between Yellow Pete and Robert X. Lee.
Well, before all the madness with the kills down bottom and the rotations with teleports started happening, Robert had a huge lead down there. And he did have a big upper hand. He's been able to keep his CS up too, so he's going to be doing fine going into that late game. And like we said, Jinx is amazing in that late game. Not only does Westrise have the ability to chain kills and get resets, but Jinx with the Get Excited is one of the best AD carries there for the end game because she can continually chase people down and use that mobility that she gains after 1 kill to reposition.
Evil Geniuses though, member missing there with Inox up towards the top. He does have his teleport if he wants to use it, but he's going to have to be careful. And a lot of the gold interesting is actually on Pobelter and Crepo. So that's good for Ziggs. He's going to be able to poke and really clear waves. And Crepo, he's spent his items well, but you maybe want that gold on someone that can carry a little harder.
Yeah, I'd say Crepo deserves that gold with all of the amazing ultis that he's been landing here. He has been getting himself extremely beefy, so he is just as strong a tank here as someone like Snoopy. And he's going to be wanting to use his ulti for the engage, but then also he has the ability to peel for the likes of Pobelter and Yellow Pete.
And so EG going to start this siege now. Got Baron on a couple of members. That's good enough. Inox going to take away the red buff there as well. I mean, the wave kill looking pretty good here for DTG. Jinx is very, very good. Not just at sieging, but counter-sieging.
She is at that, but I mean, EG've got a really good combo there. Pobelter, you know, he can use the passive from Ziggs to just get 1 auto attack onto a turret, and it takes a big chunk out of it. So even with the small regen of the inhibitor turrets, if they just get those Ziggs empowered auto attacks and the Ezreal Trinity Force empowered auto attacks onto it, then they can chunk it down pretty significantly.
Yeah, and the poke as well from Ziggs maybe make the difference here in this fight, but we'll have to see here. Determined, holding on for dear life here at this point. Inox was up towards the top lane, but he's rotated himself through the jungle, just kind of clearing out what he can. Westrice, rotating up towards the top to kind of push that back here, and it is the split push here for EG Kobe. Like we mentioned, it's pretty much their plan at this point. They're going to look for a good point to teleport.
Yeah, I like the kind of answer from DTG. Westrice just went to split mid instead, so he was like, okay, you're going to split push top. I don't really want to fight you again, so I'll take some minions and then come and try and hold on to my turret.
Yeah, but Inox really just going to try and be a pain here, and you can see Broken Shard kind of in the middle, wants to mediate these lanes here as the push happens. I mean, one of the issues with teleport is that, Broken Shard going to go through. There's the Assault and Battery. Westrise going to try and see if they can kill him, but Inox going to look for the 1v2 here. Damage down to Westrise, but he's kind of invisible, can't really see him, and Broken Shard still putting the damage through.
It's burning!
Almost enough, does get it. Pops the GA, the turret goes down as well towards the bottom, and Inox is still alive, and Westrise back up, does get the kill, but they're losing everything here, Determined.
They spent the GA, and it took them so long to finish off Inox that the rest of the team was able to make the plays because, like we said so many times before, all the resources from DTG going over to try and stop Inox, they get an inhibitor for it, and Inox was able to take down that GA from Westrise, so that was definitely worth it for EG. They're also able to take another dragon off the table, so that comeback mechanic's not available for Determined.
And it almost feels like Determined got a little impatient there with that kill. I mean, they could have just left someone to move up there and just keep the lanes pushed out, because again, if you teleport, the longer the space is, the better the port is for you. So from one inhibitor to another, it's actually not that far.
Exactly. Westrise could hold on to that lane as long as he's at his turret, because he's not that afraid of Inox actually diving the turret, but you can see from the flash ulti there from Broken Shard, they thought they could finish him off very quickly. And then once the fight began, again, it looks kind of like Westrise didn't know quite where to go, walking back and forth because he's so scared of the damage and the burst from Riven that it took them way too long to finish him off.
And Inox now has finished a Guardian Angel for himself. So that's going to be pretty interesting news here. I mean, you saw just how hard it was for Westrice to kill him, and Inox was doing so much there 1v2. If it had GA in that last fight, it probably would have been a clean 1v2 there for Riven. And I mentioned how scary Riven can be. Inox is looking at the peak of his power, and that is the thing for me, Kobe, that's the interesting timing point for this game. EG kind of have to win now.
Well, they've got a really good chance because Inox now has G of his own, and Westrice is going to be on cooldown. So in that 2 versus 1 situation, if they repeat that fight, I'm going to have to give the edge to Inox.
I mean, it looks good now for EG, but if this game goes longer, and we've seen it long games already today, Kobe, then Determined Gaming can certainly get there with their late game and turn it around. But right now, looking really up against the ropes. Baron up very, very soon as well. So you can see the triple sweeper there actually on EG. They want absolute vision around this Baron area if they can get it.
Right. Okay. So that shared resource vision point I was trying to make before is that, you know, since everyone only gets 1 pink ward, and you can only have a couple sweepers. Oh, they're gonna basic instead.
Broken shot, wrong place, right time. Ziggs there, bomb coming with Yellow Beat. Able to pick up that kill. Now Snoopy chasing through with the Ragnarok. Nothing stops Olaf in this ball, and that's a double kill for Pete moving through. Robert Exley in a whole lot of trouble as well. His GA is gonna get popped here. Should be finished off here at this point. Oh, everybody misses. Can't quite time the GA respawn, but 3 clean kills.
It is exactly the same result as last time we started talking about that. Those sweepers definitely paying off. It's Broken Shard going in there to try and grab a little piece of vision and ends up dying for it. They get 3 members down. It should be a very easy push in here.
EG just waiting for their minions to come in. Bottom inhibitor already down. They're looking to take a second one here as well. And they can quite possibly move off and take Baron fairly safely after that as well. You can see the inhibitor turret going to drop quickly. The inhibitor not long for this world either here as it quickly goes down. And Determined Gaming, there's still comebacks here maybe, but this is a tough spot to be in.
Now, this spot is 2 inhibitors down, minions in your base, and Baron is up. They are extremely scared right now because if they choose to go contest this Baron, those minions are going to constantly be doing more damage to the base. They will lose Nexus turrets.
Kobe, I have to ask you, is the 3rd time the charm? Because that is exactly what EG are hoping for
Broken
here.
Shard looks like he wants it, but this time they're going to use the ulti first. Okay, he sees they're not on Baron. Broken Shard may live this day.
I mean, it might already be gone if you're Determined Gaming.
You know what's funny is they saw that missile go by, so they know that Determined think it's clear, and now they'll just take it.
That's actually really, really clever from EG. And Broken Shard's going to get the bad news. He'll look for the Smite steal, though. Volt Breaker charging out. Oh, that is really smart for EG. Oh, he's going to go in assault battery. He steals it. He gets back. He gets that with a lesson. Amazing play there from Broken Shard.
I thought he wussied out, but he was just waiting. He uses the ulti, grabs it anyway, and here's the teleport.
Inox moving through. Robert Exley very, very dead as Riven's going to pick up that kill, but Broken Shard, I thought EG was so smart in waiting for Volt Breaker to run out.
It was.
Forgot about Assault and Battery.
It was the perfect play right there. Both teams played that perfectly. It's just that the smite goes to Broken Shard. They end up with this one, but EG are going to take the bait.
And Crepo misses his first Zenith Blade of the game, I think, but this 3rd inhibitor looks very, very, very dead at this point as Broken Shard moving back in. You can see it looks like Bubblegum getting jumped on as well. Crepo going real deep there as Snoopy jumps into the fray as well. Now Yellowpete moving forward with the damage. Pobelter picks up 1 kill as Thresher's going to go down and moving the rest of them out with the mines as well. The last inhib going to fall there and EG going to back out with almost everything. But that was a steal and a half, Kobe.
Yeah, DTG's only hope now are home guards for everybody and hoping that EG will stay too long and they can actually answer back with some kills.
EG going to stay a little late here. Oh, Home Guard actually moving through. Broken Shard, ult not quite back here. Crepo a little low. Looks like they are going to back off there just enough to move out of the way. Westrice's GA back up too. Super Mega Death Rocket actually going to kill Crepo. But Westrice going to get jumped on. The GA gets caught there. Pobelter with the ult coming through. And beautiful kitings moving out of you. EG, a beautiful turnaround there and Determined. A little greedy there on that one. Robert Exley's back though. So they might have to get out of the way, and they will.
Oh, the burst damage from Riven. Even when she's slow life, not only can she put out so much damage, but her shield also is a massive amount. Able to just instantly destroy Westrice as soon as he jumps in.
The good news though for Determined, they did get their last inhibitor back. So they at least have that.
All right, they got 1 of 3. That's pretty good.
That's true. I mean, it's not 2 out of 3, which ain't bad. But 1 out of 3 is better than 0 out of 3. And Broken Shard here just going to clean them out, clean the minions out, out towards the top lane here. I mean, his team, some of his team at least, does have Baron.
Exactly. The Baron was recently taken, so that objective is not on the map. There's not much that's going to draw Determined out of their base now. And even though their inhibitors are down, they can just farm the waves inside of their base and force EG to come for a 5-on-5 team fight. The only thing they would be giving up is that next dragon, which is probably going to go to EG anyway.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, EG just have complete control of the map. You can see right now the sweep is only just starting to come out for Determined. They've really valued the yellow trinkets here because they've just not been able to leave their base pretty much at this point. As you call Kobe, the next dragon is going to go down, and EG, they're looking to win now, surely.
Yeah, I really would make the call for Determined to stay inside the base. There's almost no reason you should be outside of the base for their team right now because all the minion waves are going to be pushing in anyway, so if you want to farm, you can farm close to the priority objectives that your team's going to be coming for.
But EG moving in for the kill here. On top of this inhibitor, Bubadub looks for the death sentence but doesn't quite find it. Athlon just throwing out the poke. Another inhib respawns though. That's the mid one coming back up. And DTG going to dig in deep here.
And Inox is fully potted up. His GA is up. His flash is up. His ulti is up. So he is looking to burst down Robert or Westrise here. And it looks, even though they've got another inhibitor respawn for Determined, it looks very scary here.
Yeah, and we've seen it before. One solar flare here from Crepo. Could change it. He's going to go in for it, but doesn't quite get it. I think Robert actually was forced to flash there. Now Determined going to come back in. Crepo under siege there as Inox gets out there on Ribbon. Bubadub tries to throw the box out, and Pobelter runs defense with the ultimate. Is broken shot, getting crushed down by that Ribbon. Inox going so deep there with his GS still ready to go. Robert actually, his GS is going to go down now as well, as Artelon's looking to be in trouble as well. Robert goes down instantly once he gets back up from Ribbon, and EG, I think they've done it, Kobe.
Yeah, Determined didn't quite all go in all at the same time, and EG are going to take the first game.
Looking really strong here, but Kobe, remember, one game out of a best of 5. We've got a long way to go for this team. But EG showing up almost everybody, it seems like here. No one knew what they were going to be like. They look good. Oh, Crepo.
Yeah, deserved right there. Good job, Crepo. I have to say, you know, Inox showed up great. He was a massive force in the end game there. And, you know, Pobelter did his best. He did not go on tilt from that early kill. But the MVP, I have to give it to Crepo because he made the game-changing engages down bottom in the early and mid-game to get them ahead.
And I think I have to agree with you, Crepo. As I said, I think he missed one Zenith's blade that I was able to see on camera. Just looking so solid there. And his Leona, it's scary for a reason. I would be shocked if that didn't draw a ban next game.
That'd be interesting. If they do ban the Leona, you know, Crepo still, he could take away something like the Thresh. So, you know, he has a lot of other options to go to, but they won't have that guaranteed long-range engage. I wonder if that's so important to this EG team that they'll make up for it with a pick somewhere else on the map.
Maybe. I mean, that's kind of specific to Ziggs, I think. I mean, and that was one of the things that I really liked about EG's comp was that they sort of built their team comp around, we want to pick Ziggs, we know he's strong, but he's not the, you know, engager middling like Gragas can be, like Orianna can be. He's all about the shoving, all about doing big burst damage and controlling space. And Leona's actually a beautiful complement to that sort of champion.
Plus, Crepo just loves that champion.
He does too, yes, which helped out a lot. And you could tell his experience looking really solid there in that game. And EG, as I said, we didn't know what they were going to look like, but looking really strong. And the two unknown players here, the two stars, really showed up big this game.
Yeah, they did. I would have to be pretty worried there for the Westrise fans because Inox was looking great. And in the couple of scuffles, even the 1v1, when, you know, Westrise, he just kind of got outplayed.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned it before, people going invisible, and Westrise was trying to juke back and forth, but Inox just found him and was able to kill him 1v1. And at that point, Inox was looking very good on Riven, but he just caused so many problems. If Crepo was the MVP for the game there, especially the early game, Inox has it for the mid and late game for me.
Yeah, a lot of the times when your opponent is so focused on tricking you and juking you, trying to make you miss your abilities, just holding on to them like Inox did, and then waiting until he's out of movement to finish him off was the right call.
So moving through to game 2, of course, it is a best of 5 here, Kobe. Plenty of time for these two teams to kind of get things going. What do you think Determined are going to change moving through the game?
I think that they're going to switch up the 2 versus 1 situation. It didn't seem like that helped out too much because, you know, they did get the extra turret there. They got it first. They got the first blood down mid too. But they, you know, they lost out the dragon in that exchange as well. And then once it turned around, they had the teleport down and the engages from from Snoopy, EG was just able to roll ahead from there.
Yep, so we'll see what happens. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, it's Game 2 between Determined Gaming and the Evil Geniuses. Crepo and crew look to make it 2 wins in a row and get one step closer to the NALCS. Our coverage of the 2014 Spring Promotion Tournament will continue right after this.
I slowed him. Yes! Yes, good job. Got him. Conjure's coming down through try. He's slow. Kill. Slowly. He's slow. Keep going. Nice!